Hello, and welcome to the Dragovan channel.
I'm Dragovan!
And I'm Caravan.
And my shoes don't match.
Apparently Blizzard doesn't like to make purple cloth shoes. He's been trying out a million different colors of purples, and he can't find any good matching.
I have all dark purple and red shoes.
See, I don't care about clothes in real life, but for some weird reason in World of Warcraft, I'm liking transmog to a point where it annoys the hell out of me when he's got like bright, vibrant purples and all this white and shit, and then he's got a dark purple helm, and it kills me on the inside. So today's lesson, we're going to be talking about global cooldowns and latency. The global cooldowns, I want to talk about what's on a global cooldown, what it costs, how long it takes, and with latency, I want to talk about the two different types of latency, home and world. So if you'll join me in a game, click. I can turn on my glasses again. As you'll see, we're in a place that probably won't cause lag. So with the global cooldown, if I click any button, let's just click a normal button, 3, it'll cause every single one of your spells that is on the global cooldown to take 1 or 1.5 seconds to do, depending on your class. Hunters, rogues, feral druids, and death knights in unholy presence will have a 1 second global cooldown, and every other class will have a 1.5 second global cooldown. Caster classes are able to lower their global cooldown by increasing their haste. That is based around a 1.5 second cast, making sure that they are never global cooldown capped while they're chain casting. So to show it off in a duel, accept, damn it. Spam a 1.5 second cast ability. Yeah. Basically, if it's 1.5 seconds, it will never ever lock him in a global cooldown just because they shorten it to let him do it. If I die, I'm going to be so angry.
They fixed it so all dots fall off.
I know they fixed it so all dots fall off, but sometimes they still die. Random person. Indeed. Anyway, so let us continue. The next thing to talk about is what moves are off global cooldowns. Whenever somebody refers to you wanting to use cooldowns in general, like they just say pop your cooldowns, they're usually talking about abilities which grant you really strong buffs for a short duration, but cost a couple minutes to cool down. Example for hunters, rapid fire, and also for trolls, I have an ability called berserking. Grouping these together into one macro is very convenient. It makes sure that everything is going together, and it makes sure that you can maximize how much damage you're pulling off when you're doing your global cooldown, like increasing not only your attack power, but your attack speed, and giving yourself any agility buffs. These are all great. Okay, that's kind of creepy. I'm not going to say no to that, but I'm going to accept it. Anyway, as I was saying, he has no idea what we're talking about, because nobody has any idea what we're talking about. So as I was saying, these abilities are not on the global cooldown, but they require you to not be using a spell. For example, if I'm casting something and I try clicking it, I can't click it until after I'm done casting, but after I do click it, it will not cost me a global cooldown to use it. So while I'm using my normal rotation, I can just keep spamming these buttons, and I'll use it immediately after I'm done, but it won't cause a global cooldown. Wow, shameless advertising. 100% shameless. Anyway.
That's kind of the point. I mean,
yeah, that is kind of the point. So we'll go back to a duel. I want to show them on my side of global cooldown. A big thing to do while DPSing or healing in World of Warcraft is to make sure you're always using every single global cooldown. Making sure that your global cooldowns line up with each other. He's going to try to kill me too, isn't he? Ah, death coil. Anyway, making sure all of your spells and global cooldowns line up with each other. That way you're never just standing there staring off into space. I win!
Oh, you son of a bitch.
Hunter burst.
You were at 3%.
I know, it's awesome. So making sure that you're constantly doing something is a very important thing to DPSing or doing any normal role in World of Warcraft. If you're not doing something for half a second, you can lose out on, well, mathematically speaking, you can lose out on a good 3k DPS, or 3,000 damage. So it's just making sure you're always doing something. It's just important. The next thing we want to talk about is latency. With latency, there are two types. There's home latency, which covers the auction house, your trade chat in general, and it's just some of the lesser things, the things that nobody cares about. The important things like combat ratings, global cooldowns, movement latency, all of that is driven by your world latency. The world latency will usually be higher because it takes longer for Blizzard to contact the servers and tell them what's going on. But once it does, that's how all the combat is handled. That's how all the math is handled. That's how everything's handled. So, for example, on my screen, we'll do again. On my screen, whenever I do an ability, even though it shoots the ability instantly, he has no clue about it until 96 milliseconds later, which is actually a very good number for me today. I'm really happy.
Yeah. Lag.
Lag. Wow, that was debilitating. I don't know what caused that, but that's a bad idea.
So much.
Did you get lag too?
Yeah, like at the same exact moment.
My bad. Sorry for anyone watching. We just got a ridiculous lag spike. So, as I'm saying, you can be. What the fuck was that? So as I'm saying, every time you do an ability, every time you move around, every time any action is taken, it takes 96 milliseconds for that action to be registered on the server. So, Dragovan, line up with me. We're going to show the movement one. And you almost died from that, and I would have laughed so hard.
I had to get out of combat.
Alright, line up on the road. Alright, we're going to start moving in 3, 2, 1. You clicked it at 1, right?
Yep.
See, we clicked at exactly the same time. This is the shadow that I want you guys to see. Even though he moves a little bit quicker, he's catching up to me. This is the shadow I'm talking about. I haven't talked about it yet. But basically, if you imagine yourself being about 98 milliseconds behind yourself, you'll always see what's going on now. Even though he's moving a little bit quicker, you probably got a boot enchant, don't you?
Probably.
Yeah, he's got a boot enchant that makes him move quicker than I do.
Yeah.
Even though he's moving a little bit quicker, as you saw at the beginning, we pressed the button at the exact same time. But on my screen, because I'm looking at my screen in real time, and I'm only looking at him as latency. All right, get ready. 3, 2, 1. See? Even though we're moving at the exact same speed, I'm always ahead of him just because I'm looking at myself in real time, and I'm looking at him behind 2 sets of latency. Latency it takes for him to go to the server, and latency it takes for me to read that from the server. Alright, that covers that entirely. This can come into play in multiple occasions. For example, in raid fights, it can come into play when you need to position yourself with each other, like I need to stack on him. You have to keep this in mind that if I stop a little bit early, he's going to stop when he sees me stop. That's why you always see, like, I'm going to you, and then he goes apart from me. It's because he didn't see where I was moving until after I'd already moved. That's a good thing to keep in mind when you're trying to stack during raids. Another thing, during PvP, when you're fighting against other people, sometimes when melee's on top of you, on their screen they're on top of you, and on your screen, I'm going to pretend I didn't notice that. On your screen, you see it as if they're far away. So sometimes the melee and the range can hit each other at the same time, even though technically the other thinks that they're wrong. You know, it's the argument where I always look like I'm correct. He really just wants to show off right now.
Yeah, I'm having quite a bit of fun.
He is. So you're always in the favor when it comes to latency. You're never going to get screwed out of not being able to hit something just because even though it shows it on your screen, you're not seeing it. You always get the benefit of the doubt. So if I'm in range on my screen, I'm allowed to shoot. If he's in range on his screen, he's allowed to shoot. But if I'm out, like if for a millisecond I go out of sight, you know, line of sight, he will not notice what it is, and he still has a shot for that 92 milliseconds it takes for me to get behind there, and I cannot shoot because I think that I'm wrong. Was there any more to this?
I'm not sure. I don't think so.
Damn, I covered that quickly. Wow.
In that case, just watch this duel some more.
No, I already turned it off.
Oh, you turned it off?
Yes, I did. So, to sum up, we're in the global cooldown, the global cooldown is whenever you use a spell, it prevents you from reusing another spell. A good reason for this is that way you don't have to spam your abilities as quick. A lot of people already know what this is and how it works mostly, but they don't know a lot of the details. The global cooldown itself is just put into place that way people don't have to spam the abilities as quick as they can, because then the person with the quickest finger obviously does the most damage. But they also don't want casters to get screwed out of global cooldowns, because as they get haste, eventually your global cooldown will get slow. Your cast will get so small that you can't cast anymore because you're waiting for the global cooldown to get off of trigger. So Blizzard fixed that by allowing your global cooldown to get shorter based around haste. Latency is how long it'll take for your server to get to you, and it'll take. It's just a shadowy image of yourself. You're always given the benefit of the doubt with it, and it's just a nice thing to keep in mind when you're working together with people through the game. Is there any other closing comments?
Not that I can think of.
Oh, I got Lore Master Outlands. That was fun. Took a long time, but it was fun. And the Netherwing eggs are still showing up in my dreams. I did.
Damn eggs!
I did the dailies in 3 days, and I went you're dying. Slowly. I did the dailies in 3 days, and I went so crazy by finding like 50 or 60 eggs that now whenever I'm like, getting to that soft, warm, fuzzy section of the dreaming, I dream of the eggs and that little amazing aura that they had with them that made it seem like it was such a cool find.
Dude, you sound like you're trying to seduce the eggs. It's a little weird.
Have a great day, everybody.